Yeah, thank you very much for having me this evening. As you said, I'm one of several candidates seeking the Democratic Party's nomination to run against Jim Jordan next year. Now, considering I'm the new candidate, and most of you have no clue as to who I am, let me start out by giving you a quick background about myself. I live in Delaware County with my wife, Jana, and our two youngest teenage sons. And by the way, my wife, Jana, grew up about 10 minutes from here.
Oh, okay.
I'm originally from Virginia. I have an undergraduate degree in government from the College of William & Mary, and I have a master's degree in computer science from American University in Washington, D.C. Approximately 30 years ago, I moved to Ohio, and I started an e-learning software company. We grew it from inception to become an international company with offices across the United States, Europe, and Asia Pacific. By the time we sold the business, we had created over 250 high-paying, high-tech jobs. For the past 6 years, I've been working with blockchain, which is the technology behind Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Now, I consider myself a progressive Democrat, and I hold the values and positions that most progressive Democrats hold. But for my campaign, I would really like you to remember 3 things about my campaign. And the first one is why I'm running. I could no longer sit idly by and watch a small group of very well-funded right-wing radicals destroy our government. As an Ohioan, and I think I speak for other people in this room, I've been deeply disappointed at our lack of leadership in Congress. For the past 17 years, Jim Jordan has done nothing for the people of Ohio. We have been unseen and unheard in our nation's capital. Yet that man spent as much time he spends more time representing Donald Trump than he does the 4th District. The second thing I want you to remember about my campaign is I'm running to protect our civil liberties and our personal liberties. This includes a woman's right to reproductive freedom, as well as her right to equal pay and equal opportunity. Now, when it comes to reproductive freedom, a woman's freedom does not stop at 15 weeks. Also, I'm running to protect LGBTQ rights, the right to live however they want, and the right to have access to the health care that they need. Also, we need to recognize that we have not achieved racial equality and that discrimination still exists when it comes to access to jobs, to education, and in the application of our laws. Third, I want you to remember that I'm running to create economic opportunity for the 4th District. This includes promoting Ohio farmers, helping them eliminate trade barriers, and supporting and helping build the right infrastructure. We need to make sure that our small businesses have access to capital, and that we create educational opportunities so that our young people are better prepared for future jobs. We need a representative that's going to support teachers' unions. We need a representative that's going to support labor unions. And we need a representative that's going to help us raise the minimum wage. Now, what I've just described is not headline, attention-grabbing political theater, but is what the job of a representative should be doing. I know that I've got the ability to get the job done, and I will work hard for the people of Ohio. Because the only way that we're going to change Congress is by changing the men and women who represent us in Congress. I've tried to make my speech short. I thank you for listening to me. And if you have any questions, I would love to try to answer them. Not everybody at once.
So, what, you said you have a degree in government.
Yes.
So, did you work in government at all, or?
No, actually, I never worked. Actually, I lived in D.C. or Northern Virginia and worked in D.C. for about 16 years. And I worked for Beltway Bandits and contractors. So I did a lot of government work. And so I worked with the government. I did a lot of government projects. But I was not directly employed by the government. The reason why I got a government degree was while I was a kid, my father went to law school, became a lawyer, and as soon as he got out of law school, he got immediately into politics. And so when I was 11 years old, he would take me around to he was first started running campaigns before he ran for office himself. And at that time, so he would take me around, show me the ropes, and I really got interested in politics because I got interested he would take me at a young age. And I thought I was going to go to, after I got out of undergraduate school, I was going to go get a law degree. But I got interested in computers and ended up going back and doing all my undergraduate work in math and computer science, and ended up getting a master's degree. Never made it to law school. When I was graduating, when I was getting the master's in computer science, there were 4 of us. And so we stood up to get our degrees. And then they had the law school stand up, and about 250 to 300 of these people got degrees. I think I made the right career choice. Any other questions that people might have? Yes,
what do you know about farmers?
I don't know. I'm not a farmer. I'm not, and so I don't know a lot about farmers. But I know that I've run a small business, and farms are small businesses. And so I understand what it's like to need access to capital. I understand that farmers need to have insurance. I understand that we need to pass the farm bill to support our farmers. I know that Jim Jordan has not supported the farm bill. And they have those, and I know they have a lot in the farm bills generally for infrastructure, for building libraries, for helping provide insurance for farmers. And I don't understand why he doesn't support it, considering this is such a large farming community. So I'm not going to pretend that I'm a farmer, but as a small business owner, I understand the needs of capital. I understand the needs of getting your product to market. And I understand that there are a number of trade barriers that have been put up for farmers, like the soybeans down into Mexico. They put blockades on that. And so where I can help out is I can help try to get eliminate these trade barriers and work on that sort of thing. And so that's about as honest as I can be.
I don't want to hear about your thinking too. Why do you think so many farmers, you have a lot of farmers around here, why do so many farmers seem to support Jim Jordan?
I've actually asked that question. And so the first question I'll ask is, what do you think of Jim Jordan? And it's a very common response. I mean, if they're MAGA, they love him. Mm-hmm. But not all of them are MAGAs. Mm-hmm. And so when I ask the question, what do you think of Jim Jordan, I'll get a response, something to the effect of, I'm not really wild about the guy, he's kind of embarrassing. Mm-hmm. Now that's different than what a Democrat would say. We would put 4 or 5 adjectives in front of his name and 2 or 3 after his name. And then so why do you vote, if you vote Republican, why do you vote Republican? And the answer is very consistent. They say, Democrats don't understand us. And one of the things that's going to be very important, if I am lucky enough to win the Democratic Party's nomination, one of the things we have to do is take our messaging directly to not only farmers, but to the conservative community. Because if you look at it, Democrats are a far better choice than Republicans. They don't support the farm bill. They didn't support the infrastructure bill. They want to take money out of education. These are things that are critical to small or rural communities. And Democrats support all of those things. And I think we have to work harder at getting our message out. They think we're all about abortion, and we're not. I mean, that's very important to us.
That's
But,
their message.
supporting, if you look at the Democrats and you look at our platform and the bills that we get actually passed, we're a much better party than Republicans are. And I think we ought to be driving that message home every single day.
Amen.
Look forward to hearing from you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When I came in, I said I wanted to get to know you and to meet you because I know Jeff and I know Tammy, but now I'm trying to figure out, here's my third choice, and there's only one X that I dare have. I can't vote for all three of you, so I need to know how you're going to be, what your program and approach will be and your campaign will be that's different from Jeff. Or I know you're running against, I get the Jordan part, amen, but what I want to know is what's different about you over Tammy and Jeff.
This is one of the things
I know I put you on the spot, but I'm sorry about that.
But that's all right.
I'm not really sorry, but okay.
I'll answer it truthfully. First of all, I know Tammy and Jeff, we show up at the same events all the time.
Right.
And, we talk to each other, we rib each other.
Mhm.
And so after the campaign is over, we will be friends.
Mhm.
But I think I bring a different set of qualifications. I think, a very good educational background.
Mhm.
Government has been important to me. I have actually started a business and grew it to become an international business. And so I think that I have a lot more experience, not only as an executive, but I think I have a better educational background than my competitors. And I think that, so I think if you ask me, I'm kind of biased. I think that makes me a different candidate. I'm not going to say that it makes me a better candidate, but I think that it puts me in a position that I can go into Congress, and I'm not going to be intimidated by being on the floor with these people with names that we all know, and I'm not going to be when it comes to understanding what's going on. I think I have a really good idea about what's going on, and I think that's very important when it comes to who you send to Congress. You want to send somebody that's qualified, somebody that's got real experience. I think I've got a lot more experience just going to work, actually having a job that's not with the government than Jim Jordan. I mean, Jim Jordan went from being a wrestling coach to going to the government. He's never had to punch clocks like the rest of us have. He's never had to pay bills. He's never had to worry about making sure that 300 and some odd people get their paycheck. And that, I mean, those sort of things prepare you, I believe, for being able to represent the people. And that's my pitch. Yes, sir.
A lot of government is problem solving. Give us an example, please, in your background of, more than just a problem, but there was some crisis. We'll say in your business, something, all what broke out, and, how did you bring people together to solve that problem?
Now that's putting me on the spot. Generally, when it comes to businesses, when the economy is going great, all boats are floated, right? It's when the economy tanks, what do? Because money becomes more scarce. It's hard to close business. It's hard to find customers. One of the things that there was a huge downturn in the economy not too long ago, and businesses were not doing any, weren't getting any business. And so one of the things I was able to do successfully was, in that time, I was able to go out and raise quite a bit of money for our business because we had a lot of good fundamentals in the business. We had established a decent customer base, and so I was able to go out and do what they call a road show and go to New York and Boston and Chicago and San Francisco and try to raise money. And the fortunate thing was we were asking for like $25 million, and we were offered 50, 25, and 10, and we actually ended up taking the 10 million. But that was kind of hard because that was when things were tanking, but you want your business to stay afloat, keep people that have been loyal to us, make sure that we didn't just, give them a pat on the back and say sorry. We wanted to keep them employed. And so that's what we did. We went out and raised the money, and it took us through some difficult times, and it worked out. So I hope that is, if I think about it for a while, I could probably come up with some more, but.
No, that's good. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Just two things. First, the suggestion, develop an understanding of the tax code and how it affects farmers. Both the state tax and our U.S. government tax.
Good advice.
So we had some problems, and a bunch of farmers were going ape when the taxes came due, but I don't blame them. Secondly, to me, feeding Jeff Jordan means cracking his facade, that he's a congressman and he gets things done. How do you intend to do that?
That one is going to be difficult. I think one of the things we have to, it's going to require a great deal of marketing, and to be honest, to be able to go up and beat somebody like Jim Jordan, we have to raise a lot of money. He's got, last time when he was running against Tammy, he had an $18 million war chest, and he spent about $6 million of that. He ended up having about $12 million left over. And we get a lot of his emails, and so we get requests for money every day from him. And so what it's going to take is we're going to have to, if we really want to beat somebody like him, we have to be able to raise a lot of money, and we have to do it not just here, we have to do it nationally. We get, and I think we have to make sure we get the message out that he is beatable. A lot of times people won't contribute because they think, you can't beat Jim Jordan. But Jim Jordan is vulnerable. He is not that, he's well liked in the MAGA community, but it's the independents that really make the decision throughout a lot of Ohio, and particularly in the 4th District. Mm-hmm. And one of the things we have to do is be able to target those people with a message that we're really the opposite of Jim Jordan. We can be trusted. We are going to look after the 4th District. And I believe the issue with Ohio State and Dr. I think that's going to bite them. And I also think that it's going to be, I don't think when it comes to what happened on January 6th, even though he has not been indicted, I would not be surprised if sometime next year he and some of his other co-conspirators are indicted. And that, in George Clooney, I think most of you probably know that George Clooney has that documentary that he's done on Ohio State and what happened with the doctor in wrestling. One of the things that I've been in contact with is the people that have filed the lawsuits against Ohio State, and what they're telling me is that the Clooney's documentary is going to come out next year. I've heard all sorts of dates. I've heard September or whatever, but HBO will be coming out with it. And I think all of those things are going to make him, I think they'll make him vulnerable. But what it'll require is it'll require all of us to not only raise a lot of money, but also to knock on a lot of doors. We just have to be as aggressive as possible. It's not an easy task, but I don't think it's going to be, I don't think it's rocket science. I think we've got to go right at them, and I think we have to just keep beating on just the bad things that this guy does. So that's what I think it's going to take. Bottom line, a lot of money. So, and not not the type of money we've been putting into these campaigns before. We've not been supporting our Democratic candidates very well. And to beat some of these Republicans is going to require a lot of resources. Yes, sir.
Do you think that Jim Jordan failing to get Speaker of the House is going to have any effect on his career?
I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. I think he's got a lot of liabilities that are outside. And for instance, the Ohio State thing. I think the issue around Donald Trump, as that starts to metastasize, I think you're going to find that he's going to be brought into it. I think those are his bigger liabilities. And this sounds crazy, as an American, I would dread him becoming Speaker of the House. But as a candidate, I was hoping he would become Speaker of the House. Because I was sure that if he became Speaker of the House, there's no way he would even run by next year. How many speakers have actually made it to the next election if they're Republican? I mean, look at them; they all get drummed out very, very quickly. And so I was actually, I mean, it's terrible to say that you want something bad happening in the country, but as a candidate, I couldn't have asked for anything better. So I don't know the answer any more than probably the rest of the people in this room. I just think he's got bigger liabilities. But that being said, I think this is an important seat, and even if they got rid of Jim Jordan, I think the Republicans would probably try to run somebody that's quite popular as well. So I don't think they would just roll over on the seat. I think they would take a lot. I think they put a lot of money into keeping the seat.
Any other questions for Steve? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for listening to me. I really appreciate it. So,
Wish you the best of luck.
okay, thank you.
We'll be
Thank
looking
you.
forward to seeing more.
You didn't plug your website.
Yeah, you didn't tell us.
It was up. They had it up there.
Steve Thomas for Congress.
It's actually stevethomasforcongress.us. And it's Steve Thomas for FOR Congress. You just type in Steve Thomas for Congress, and it'll be the top thing that
You're at
pops
the
up.
top.
And the first thing you want to do is press the donate button. So,
Couple times.
yeah, a couple of times. That's right. I'll let you go in with your meeting. I really appreciate it. If anybody wants to call me, you've got my number, and you're welcome to share that with the people in this room and if you. And I know, Larry, you've got my number as well, so we need to get in touch. Thank you very much, everybody. You guys
Thank you.
take care.
Have a good night.
Thank you.